With the audience. Okay. Oh, let's see. What? Am I sitting up too high? Um, um, hey everybody. I know it's been a really long time since I have done a live. I don't know what made me do it today. I really don't. I was I was listening to the radio this morning and a question was posed and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share it. So that's why I'm here now. I want to see what you guys think. I want you to tell me, give me your input. The question was, and that is, if you believe in heaven, was that how it was? I want to get it right, but I'm sure I won't. Um, have you ever been in love? And I really had to think about it. And if I'm being completely honest, I think only once. And if you have, how many times? And if you are in heaven, which one of those loves would you want to take with you, if any? And I really had to think about it. I thought about when I was uh, really young. Uh, First guy that I dated, I thought I was in love with him. But when I think now about then, I wasn't in love. I was very young and innocent, and I didn't even have any idea what it was. No idea. So I would have to say now, based on my definition of it, I wasn't. I wasn't in love. So tell me what you think. I I want to know. Uh, Give me your input. I thought it was really profound because a lot of times, especially when relationships end badly, you don't want any parts of those people. But then, what about those of us who have a love and we want them to be there with us in the hereafter, as they say? And I would say yes, yes. I thought about something the other day. Relationships. Oftentimes, relationships end and people don't even know it's over. Or they know it's over. They just haven't accepted it. And I choose the term it dies a natural death. When things just kind of fizzle out and you just hold on, hoping that there is an awakening and things will come back. But the reality is, as they say, two people are never in the same space at the same time. In other words, two people who are in a relationship, they don't have the same kind of love for each other. I agree with that. The words are there, but the actions don't demonstrate that. My mother used to always tell me, she said, you don't love. And I didn't know what to say. Of course, I told her, yes, I do. Yes, I do. But I'm one of those people who I love with conditions. I don't ever completely expose myself. I think about a person who I believe I love. I love as much as I can. And they wanted me to do something that I wasn't comfortable with. And I didn't even hesitate. I didn't say I had to think about it. Um, I didn't say anything other than, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that because I can't do that. They wanted me to pick up a dog. I was out there on the road and they wanted me to, I was in that neck of the woods. I was gonna go right by Texas, and they wanted me to stop and pick up this dog. And I don't do dogs. I just don't. And I didn't have to think about that. No, I wasn't gonna give any false hope. I, from where I sit, I couldn't believe I was asked. Why would you think I would do that? But see, people test us all the time. All the time. You don't even know it. You can think that you are in one space uh, in a situation, and that other person is in a totally other place. So that's the question today. Um, have you ever been in love? And if so, and if so, how many times? Oh, come on. How many times? And which one of those individuals would you take to heaven with you? Which one would, well, not take, because that implies you're going to have a pact and you're going to go together. But no, which one would you want to be up there with you? And I listened to the people who were calling in to the radio show, and it was interesting. It was very. Hello.
Alice?
Yes.
All right, so doctor wants you to keep the appointment for tomorrow.
Okay.
And then she's recommending to use the, for your sinus,
Mm-hmm.
full Naris nasal spray over the counter. Okay?
Use
And
what
she
over
got
the
some,
counter?
it's, I spell it for you. Got pen and paper there?
Yep.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
P as in Paul,
I'm sorry.
O,
What? What?
P as in Paul,
Okay.
O,
Uh huh.
N,
Uh
N
huh.
as in Nancy,
Uh huh.
A as in Edward, R as in Robert,
Uh
I,
huh.
S as in Sam. Lunaris is nasal spray.
Jesus.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to recommend the airplane reading because you know you usually the airplane you can only use up to 3 days and that's it. You know.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
Or,
Okay.
yeah, it's my first time to see that one too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
All right,
I'll pick
I'll
it
see
up.
you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. I'm sorry, but since there's nobody there anyway yet, I mean, it's not as if I made an announcement that I was going to be online because I didn't. So why should I be surprised that no one's there? Because I'm an optimist. I'm always hoping somebody will be there. And how many times? And which person would you want in heaven? Now that is something. So I hope I get some nibbles. I hope that people will see this and want to. Um, I hope they will want to engage. Now, again, as you can tell, you can hear it. I am still very congested. My doctor just called. I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning. I went out early this morning, like the middle of the night. And when I came back, this is what I had because my passages were certainly a lot clearer. And I see I'm getting even more congested, which says, and our weather was good last night. It was like 60 degrees at 2:30 a.m. So it was not cold. Um, but I'm not in a good space for flip flopping. I really need to really pay attention to the signs, and my body is telling me to set it down. So I'm here, and I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so that maybe we can get a grip on this because it's been weeks now. And yes, that's the thing about getting older. That stuff does not just, it's not just over. Stuff is going on, and you you have to wait it out. You really do. You have to wait it out and hope that you get past it soon. I'm hoping. I made me some tea. I put it in my Mickey Mouse. When I went to Disney, uh, which was my first time. It was like a gift I gave to myself. Uh, I don't know. I think when I turned 60, and I'm guessing because I don't remember. Well, I think it was in 2016, and I'm guessing because I don't really remember. Um, I don't think it was that long. I don't think. But anyway, I think it was about 2016, and it was. Uh, I was like a kid in a candy store. I went. I had all this stuff planned out that I was going to do when I got there, and I was so frustrated from that damn LA traffic. I didn't want to do anything. I was, oh my God, I was traumatized. And I am not exaggerating. This was before the pandemic. I literally was traumatized. I didn't want to go anywhere. Of course, I did because my tickets for Disney, I had purchased them in advance. I had did everything in advance. I had paid for everything. Now, keep in mind, I hadn't even gotten to my room yet. This should have been a smooth transition. LA from here is like 300 miles. Like 300 miles. It should have took me maybe 4 hours. And that's on a bad day because the the speed limit is like 75. So unless you are bumper to bumper, you can do that in probably 3 hours. That's why I said 4 hours. I even, put a little bit in there. But do you know it took me forever? I didn't think I'd ever get to my hotel. I had reserved a hotel in Pasadena, which was not that far from where I was going. I had strategized and did all these things, wanting everything to be nice and simple. I am, this is Celestial Seasonings peach, some sort of peach tea. Anyway, um, I got there, and when I finally got there, and I still haven't learned how to pack light. I was weighted down. I had planned to be there like 10 days. I was going to do a lot. And when I got there, it was night, and my tickets were for 3 days for Disney alone. And you had to go on the nights that the ticket said. I was exhausted. I didn't want to do anything but go to my room after all that traffic, but I had to. I get to the hotel, and it was nothing like what was shown online. Nothing. Not only did it visually not live up, but it it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. So I stayed. I remember I was supposed to stay there, I think 7 or 8 days. I had paid for it and everything. But after 3 days, and I got one of those hotel rooms with the kitchen and everything so that I could cook if I wanted to, everything, like a little apartment. After 3 days of all this madness, I packed it up and I just started. I didn't even say I was getting ready to go. I started loading up my stuff and loading up my car, and I came down to check out, and I started telling them what was happening. How displeased I was with this false advertising. And they were so, now keep in mind, they didn't have to give me any money back. And I didn't go, I was just so full. I didn't care. I did not care. They wanted to know why I was checking out. And I told them I would never come back there. This is false advertising. So they were so accommodating. They agreed to give me all my money back. Now, keep in mind, because I had decided to leave, I was going to go to Palm Springs because I just really wanted to get all these bad vibes out of my system. And I always have a good time when I go to Palm Springs. It's just a good feeling. So you know what? It was one of those things. I'm not even going to reserve a room. I'm just going to go. But I did. I went ahead because I kind of take my laptop everywhere I go. And I had reserved a room. I didn't know how long I wanted to stay because I never do. And the third day, because the ticket was for 3 days, and I really wanted to cancel that out. They said, "Oh, you got all year to use it." I said, "I'm not coming back here in the next 12 months. I would not deal with your traffic." And even to this day, if I'm saying 2016 and this is 2024, you do the math, you know? I'm still traumatized. Every time I think about going to LA, I think about that traffic. The only time we got a break from that, if you recall, during the pandemic, somebody decided to go up in a helicopter. They did videos every day showing us the ghost town it was. I could not believe what I was seeing. There was no traffic. I said, now this is when. And I know I was not the only person thinking that. You know, I'm not making this up. They make jokes about that LA traffic all the time. Everybody does. It's nationally known. I just hadn't experienced it. And I have been all over the place and dealt with all kinds of traffic, but I had never dealt with that. And I haven't to this day ever dealt with anything like that. So anytime, and there's been times since then I've wanted to just go, you know, because there's things I wanted to do I didn't do, I didn't do. I did some things. Like I said, I did the Disney thing. I visited Sony Studios, went and sit on some sets, and I can't even remember some game shows, did some of that stuff, and all that stuff you do when you go to the studios. And yeah, I did all that. Um, but I just couldn't. I couldn't stop thinking about. I couldn't stop thinking about that traffic. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Now my doctor just called and told me to go pick up this nasal spray. I got an appointment tomorrow. I had said I wasn't going back out. That's what I said. Um, am I gonna go back out? I don't think so. I will get this stuff tomorrow. Because when I go see her tomorrow, she's gonna call me in some drugs, okay? There's no point going to the doctor if you're not gonna get uh if I'm not gonna get what I think I need, and I always do, so I'm not even worried about that. I've gotten what 4 calls from my doctor today. So yeah, yeah. Uh, my sinuses. I kid you not. This whole right side of my face is, oh my God. I am so uncomfortable. I mean, this whole side. I don't know why. I don't know why. But it is. All this and all in here just hurts. It hurts. It hurts to touch my head. Everything hurts. So I took, I know y'all hear me talk about drugs and y'all probably think I take a whole lot of stuff, but you see this? I leave. The gel caps. I took 3 of those because I had sinus headache and it was just pounding. And it's helped a little. Now, keep in mind, I do have prescription uh, medication for headaches, but I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep, so I'm not messing with that. I'm gonna see what that does, and I've also got eardrops that I can take. I haven't done that yet today, so I don't know. I don't know. I just, of course, I want to feel better. I absolutely want to feel better. Now, today, aside from everything else I've done, which I've done, I've done quite a bit, and it's like 1:25. But I've got a meeting downstairs in the office. Now, where I live is a senior community. This is a new building, and once a year you have to do what is called a recertification, and that's basically it's for any updates if you're working. That's mainly what it's about. If you're working, they want all your current information so that they can make the adjustments necessary. Now, in addition to doing that for the apartment complex, I also have to do it for Section 8. Now, I've never talked about this online. I just got Section 8. I haven't even had it a year. This is my first time when I moved in here, and I've been here since July. So you do the math. That's what I know about Section 8. I could tell you a lot because I learned a lot in the process because I started when I lived in Pahrump. That's when everything started. That's when I went online and did my research. You see, I got a big roll of toilet paper. I did all my research when I lived in Pahrump. That's when I signed up, and that's when all the craziness started. But it forced me to learn everything. So I do know about it now. Just like I know about buying cars. I had to learn. You're forced to learn. So, or it'll make you nuts. It hurts for me to blow my nose. Uh, oh yeah, and of course, because I had this cold and what do they say, flu-like symptom, uh, I got a cold sore over here. So I got a whole lot going on. Trust me, a whole lot, and I will be glad when it's over. I really will. So yeah, I've been ordering in not food. I've been online uh, making orders for Walmart, and that was the first thing. My doctor had called in a prescription, and it had to be picked up because I needed it. And they will deliver that. Now, if you need a prescription, now you can get a prescription delivered. You can get a prescription delivered for $7 at Walmart. But if you want to get anything else out of the pharmacy department, which I tried to do, I wanted to get some other things. They said no. I could, but that would be like ordering from the store, and that's a whole different thing. Which I went ahead and did that too. I had a big long list of whatever. What did I get? I got toilet paper and household stuff, um, just household stuff. And I had, what was it, 18 items, and it came to $75. 18 items. No big ticket items. No big ticket items. I got, like I said, I got toilet paper. Uh, I bought laundry detergent. Household stuff. peroxide, which was on sale because, like everything else, the price is going up on anything that's considered sterile or antiseptic, anything that fights germs. The price is insane. But because, peroxide used to be 99 cents, but it's still down there. So when I saw the price, I think it was like I paid like $1.29 a bottle, so that's not too bad. And that's a 32-ounce bottle. It's not the little one; it's the 32 ounce. So I said, "Oh, give me three of those." But that's like the cheapest thing I bought. Everything else was, oh, I did get meat. I did. I got some uh, smoked turkey and some honey ham. I think I got like a half a pound of each. Um, that was the only meat I got. Did I get any produce? No. The rest was, like I said, it was laundry detergent and that kind of stuff, household stuff. And then it occurred to me because I moved in here and I'm used to being able to park at my door, and I'm on the fourth floor. So I can't park at the door. I never know where I'm going to be parked. I hate that. From one moment to the next. If I move my car, I have no idea where I'm going to be parked. Now, that's bad on its own. But then, if you are shopping, and I buy a lot of water, I buy cases of water, and lately I've been getting these 32 packs. And they're even bigger. And I've been getting like 3 packs of the 32 pack, which are the 16 ounce. And that stuff's heavy. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I just order that from Walmart? So I did. Now, when I placed my first order, which, as I said, was $72, I didn't think of that. I just thought about, oh, I can just order this stuff and Walmart can deliver it and I won't have to do all that heavy lifting. Yeah, I can still go store and get my produce and stuff that's lightweight, but that heavy duty stuff, doing all these steps, and it's a lot. So I said, oh, this will be great. I'll just do this. So now, first order, they messed up. What did they do? They gave me a refund. I don't know why this stuff happens to me. But they called me. They text me and they said, there's a problem. And Miss, do you hear that? I have that app on my phone for water to remind me to drink water. And they gave me, yeah, they did what they do. Anyway, so I thought about my water. So I go on the website and I said, oh, you got to have a minimum. It has to be a minimum of $35. The water was like $3. No, I think it was like $4 a pack. I said, give me three. And I'm like, oh man, I got to spend $35. So what am I going to get? I'm like, man, I don't need anything. So what am I going to get? See, these are the bottles. And 16 ounce. Now, I don't know why I'm looking on this. I've been buying this water for years, so I absolutely know what size the bottle is. Um, wow, I can't believe nobody has chimed in yet. Not one person. Not one person. Anyway, uh, I went on there, so I'm on the website and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I start craving. Not really, but I make these smoothies, so I guess I would say any kind of ice cream or dairy cravings I may have, it kind of just knocks all that out. But here I am, and I'm like, oh man, when's the last time I had ice cream? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. It's been more than a year. I don't even remember last time I had ice cream. So I said, "Oh, I'm gonna get some ice cream." So I'm one of those. It's sort of like when I make a bowl of cereal. I and I know I'm not the only person that does this. I like to combine several kinds together. That's what I do. But I do that with other things, and ice cream is another. So I said, "Oh, what would I like?" So, oh, I like some butter pecan and peach ice cream, and what else did I get? Oh, pistachio, which I would never think about pistachio ice cream. I don't know. I don't know why. So I got that and that and that. And another one, it was raspberry something. Anyway, I placed the order and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be at least 3 hours. I didn't care when it came. There was no urgency. I hear this bags rattling outside. This was like 45 minutes. I hear this noise now. It's late because I this was an afterthought. I didn't even think about placing this order until I don't know 6, 7 o'clock. That's kind of late for Walmart. So I'm thinking it's not going to be before 8. I hear these bags, and this is 45 minutes. So I go and because I have a mask at my door. I keep on the shelf right there so that when I have to open the door, I can put my mask on. So you would think, with all the precautions I have taken, this wouldn't have happened. Some would say, consider yourself lucky. It could have been worse, and that's true. It absolutely could have been. I open up the door, and this guy is out there, young guy. He's standing there doing the uh, required things they're supposed to do when they drop. They're supposed to take a photo and all this, that. Hi, SB. Hi, SB. What? I might have missed it. Did you get what? I can't see what that says. Did you get other citrus? I'm missing something on the end. Did you get OJ? I don't know what else it's saying. I see the other citrus, but I don't know. I don't know. Are you asking me, did I buy citrus or did I make a citrus drink? I don't know. I'm not sure. SB, what are you saying? I'm so glad you have, you know, joined the chat. I'm really surprised. I don't get me wrong. There's no way anybody could have known I was even here because I didn't. There's no announcement. These are thoughts that are going through my head, and I just decide to do things. That's just what I do. So, why would I be surprised if anybody's there? You just never know. So, if we're talking about a drink, because uh, I can't see. Okay, let me see. Okay, just wondered if you got orange juice. Um, Me and orange juice. I don't know why I thought about that. Uh, Orange juice doesn't like me. We are not friends, so I don't do orange juice. But I can. Me and citrus uh, doesn't like me. All that acid, it doesn't like me. So I really have to monitor how much I intake because oof, it will act up. But I do. I absolutely do. So um, um, I have this tea, and I do fresh fruit. I have oranges in there. I can do those, but I still have to do it sparingly. But I do. I buy like 3 bags of tangelos. I like the little ones. I do those, and I can eat those. I can eat, maybe a couple a day, and they're tiny little babies. So yeah, I can do those, and I do those. So yeah, it's just that my immune system is so jacked up that it just takes a lot. That's why I look like a lunatic, and people look at me crazy when I'm out and about. But this is just what I have to do. And I'm not saying I'm never gonna, because of course I get sick. I'm the guy who was in the hospital a little more than a year ago. So yeah, I get sick, but I am very cautious. I'm very cautious. So yeah, I do realize this is just gonna uh, run its course, and also doesn't mean that it won't stir up something else like a domino effect. Yeah, it could stir something else up, and I have to be prepared for that. And it's funny because when I was out and about today, and as my sinuses were getting even more clogged up, I thought to myself, "Oh man, I wonder if this is gonna take me out." Because see, that's the thing when you get older, you don't know when your time is up. We hear people all the time talk about, "I just talked to so and so. I can't believe it. They were fine." I'm one of those people. I've known people like that. They were fine the day before, and the next day they were gone. And especially if we're talking about someone who's lived a full life, could go at any time. Anything could take them out. So I don't delude myself into thinking I'm going to live forever. I know I'm not. When it's time, it's time. And I'm fine with it. I absolutely am fine with it whenever it happens. Because as I've said many, many times, God has been good. But setting all that aside, SB, did you see my question? I was listening on the radio this morning as I was out and about, and the question was presented about heaven and have you ever been in love? And I just listened. Do you have a bucket list you're working through? Um, I don't, would I call it a bucket list? No, no, I don't really have a bucket list. I just reached, yeah, I guess you might call it that. I don't really call it that. I just got to a point in my life, and it was kind of when I made the decision to move out here. Um, my children were adults, had their own lives, and I was on my own. So that I moved here, I was 50. That was 16 years ago. That's kind of when I just started doing me. I didn't have to be concerned about others, you know. Uh, it was just about me and whatever I wanted to do. So when people ask me specifics, when I'm going somewhere, what time and all this, I don't know. I don't know. Everything I do now is impulsive. I don't plan too much, and I absolutely don't plan too far in advance. No, uh-uh. I'm apprehensive about getting tickets for anything that are going to be like a ways away. You know, 2 or 3 months away. I don't even like to do that. If I could get it that day, that would be great. You can, but that's a great risk because you don't know what you're gonna get. And I kind of like to pick my seats, you know, if I can when I'm going to something. But I don't always because I was looking yesterday and you know just trying to assess the situation as to what have I been doing. And I've been thinking about a friend of mine had been to Jerusalem, and when I moved here, the first thing I did is got a passport. That's the first thing I did. Uh, Went to the post office, and we know for those of us who have one, That's a process. You don't go in there like the DMV and just get a passport. You have to fill out the forms, and then you have to submit. Here it's $160, but it's good for 10 years. So it's not like the DMV. Your passport is good for 10 years, but let me see. Okay. Um, a friend asked me about that, who just been come back from Jerusalem, and I said, you know what? It is so funny that you should say that because I got a passport when I got here, and I haven't been anywhere. I haven't been out of the country. Mm-mm, I haven't been, and that was not the plan. I had planned to go, and I have been thinking about doing like a lot of people and going to South America. I have. I did a lot of research, but I will say there's been so much back and forth with the change of the dollar. Uh, when I first started, and now I wish I had went which was just 3 years ago, when I really wanted to go. That's when I started doing research on it, and the I think it was like $2,000. That's what your solvency had to be, $2,000. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you are retired and you are on a fixed income, that might be a whole lot, you know. So, and then I procrastinated, and it was just fear, and that's not like me. That's not like me at all. But that's one thing I noticed. And the pandemic, I'm going to blame so much on this. I hibernated for 2 years, and I tell you what, it did a lot of damage on my psyche. All that time not interacting, not going out unless absolutely, positively necessary. Yeah, yeah, that was bad, bad, bad. So now I'm just really uncomfortable, and I don't like that feeling because that's not who I am. I'm very outgoing and love to do things, and I'm impulsive. I'm very impulsive, but um, that's not. I haven't been. I kind of reverted back to the beginning, and what I mean is, when I was a teenager. When you're a teenager and you first start venturing out, and when I was growing up, we couldn't leave home without, because I come from a big family, so you were never alone when you went anywhere. If one went, everybody had to go. So that's how I grew up. And then, as everybody goes their way and you realize everybody has different interests, and that didn't take long, because by the time I was 16, I was off into so many other things, and they were into whatever. So it kind of started then. So I just branched out at that point. So yeah, it started really young. It's not like, oh, I hit this milestone and I was in my 40s. No, when I was 16, I was uh, creative. I was very artistic. I've always loved music. I always sang. I was always in some kind of group, um, singing, traveling. 16, that's what I was doing. And so set aside the rehearsals, then performing. And this was a gospel group. I loved it. I loved it. It was exciting. You got to meet all kinds of people, and But by the time I was 18, and I was still in high school, um, 18, time to graduate. Oops, when I turned 18, not when I turned 18, but well, yeah, when I turned 18. I had my daughter when I was 18. My daughter was at my graduation, my high school graduation. I'm so glad you're still here. Hi, I might. Okay, just wondered it. Okay, saw that. YouTube suggested an interracial dating video of yours. I watched it and the others you made, and I really enjoyed them. Thank you. Would you believe those are some of the first? Well, no, they're 2 years old now, but would you believe those videos? And right now, I have more than 400 videos out there. Those videos started with one. And I said in that video, if I get a good response, I would do more. I think I did like 10, and I'm guessing because I don't remember. Those videos got the most to this day. They still get the most. They've gotten the most hits of any, well, other than my cooking videos. Those two. And some people say, well, then if those are the videos that you get the hits from, then why don't you just focus on that? I don't know what else I can say about it. The cooking, I love to cook. I do. But I have to be in the mood, even though I do cook all the time. But me cooking all the time and me cooking on camera, that's two different animals. So I am glad. Ask me some questions about the videos. If there's something specific, which was, and this was a few months ago, somebody responded and they wanted more information. I suggested go back and look at some of the other videos. But what I'm saying to you, SB, if you've got something specific about interracial dating that you want to ask me, ask me. Just ask me. Just ask me. When I started, uh, what was the psychology, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. You know, I've been doing this so long, I'm not uncomfortable with it. Um, and it's funny how it all started. Growing up, my parents had all kinds of friends. I don't mean they were hippies, it wasn't anything like that, because I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So they weren't hippies though at all. They just didn't discriminate. So we were around white people all the time. That sounds funny, but we were. Um, and it was more my father than my mother, but white people were at our house all the time. So it kind of started there, the comfort level. Did I know I was going to date outside my race then? No, no, I didn't. But I think when I got to be in my maybe mid 20s, after some bad luck, because I already mentioned, were the families of the guys supportive? Um, Now I have to think back, because the thing about interracial dating when you're older, or when I say older, when you are mature or when you're like over 40, nobody cares. In other words, I don't care. The guy doesn't care. They're not looking for approval. And oftentimes that's where it lands. Even though I'll give you another example. One of my brothers married a white woman, and this was in the 60s. And this was a horror story for me. I was like 12 years old, and it was wintertime, and I'm from back east. And we were so young and innocent. We didn't know anything. He was taking her to visit her mother. She lived in the next town over. And I don't know, kids and timeline is totally different. To us, it was a long way away, but in reality, it was like 2 hours away. So it was me and my sister in the back seat. They were in the front. We're looking forward to this great time because we're going to be gone all day. He's asked mom and daddy, can we go? And it's going to be all day. So we're just excited. We're kids, 12 years old. And we get there, and it's in the dead of winter. And it is then that we find out that her parents were racist, and we were not allowed in their house. Now, this is 12 years old. We had to sit in the car while she visited her mother. And she was in there, seemed like forever, but that's to a kid. But I know she was there 2 or 3 hours. I was mad as hell. Oh, I was so mad. And this is at 12 years old. I said, you know what? First of all, you could have told us, because I wouldn't have came. Who wants to sit in somebody's car anytime, let alone in the wintertime? And we knew that he had been taking her up there, but we had no idea that he was taking her up there and sitting in the car. Because her mammy, no idea. Me personally, no, I've never dealt with anything like that. The guys I dated, no, never had to deal with it ever, never. But I brought that story up because, yeah, that was the only traumatic encounter I had with all that. But what I have noticed with some couples, especially those who have been together a very long time, oftentimes there is no relationship. They basically uh, drew a line in the sand, and they don't have any interaction with their family. And that's not usually on the black side, that's always on the white side. Yeah, that's because black folks, for the most part, are very accommodating. It's just a part of our nature. We're very accommodating to a point. So, yeah, that was my one traumatic experience. Have I ever been with someone who I felt was racist? First of all, I kind of I kind of let them know where I'm at with all that, which is what has brought me to that point when I'm communicating. When I meet a guy and he starts, sharing and all that, I can tell where he's at in his head about all that. If he appears to be uncomfortable, then my question is, why are you here? Because you don't seem comfortable. Seeing the guys that I've dated and have had relationships with, you can tell if they're comfortable because they're very at ease and they are there and they want to protect you. If there's any shenanigans that might that no, no, they want to protect you. They know the drill. So no, no. Mm-mm. So yeah, the only traumatic experience did I ever date, and like I said, I'm not saying I never dated guys who weren't. I dated this one guy who said to me, you know, if we could just go away and live somewhere and we weren't living together, we were dating. If we could just go somewhere where basically he was saying if we could go somewhere where everybody was cool with it, he would be up for that. I said, but where is that world at? And this was 30 years ago. Yeah, this was 30 years ago. So, but he was such a sweet person. He's dead now. He died, I think, last year or something. Not to imply that I was seeing him when he died. No, this was someone from my past. But I dated some guys, like I said, there's some frogs and there's some princes. And that's true for any situation. But I will say this, and I know I'll get some backlash from it. The reason why I decided and stayed the course, not to imply that I would not date a black man, it's just that I had better luck. I have had better luck. I continue to have better luck when I date outside my race. And I thought, and I really do. I think about this because this is such a hot topic. Uh, I thought about the philosophy behind all this and where the fear and the hang-ups uh, and I yesterday this came to mind, and it was just a thought that hit me, and I said to myself, you know, for the black man, the ultimate prize for a black man is a white woman. Yeah, it's a white woman. But the ultimate prize for a black woman is a black man. See, that's why we, as black women, we're the last to cross over. We're the last. In other words, we do it when we have no choice. Does that mean that we don't uh, go into the relationship with our eyes open and our heart open to receive love? No, we go into it just like any other relationship that we've had. Do we totally forget that he's white? You never forget that he's white. Because what you will start to notice is that people look at you differently. You get a certain level of respect. Everything is different. It is totally different when you are with them. As a black woman, that's different for black men with white women. That's different. See, black men with white women, they can't step up and protect her. They have to stay in their place. But a black woman with a white, and I didn't even think about this, but black women with white men, that's definitely an up for us. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And yeah, and I've said this in the video, when they, let's see, it says, I've heard people say that among interracial marriages, a marriage between black women and white men. Like, yeah, because nobody's diluting a black, and I can't speak for all black women, but what I've tried to communicate in my videos is that as a black woman, when you go into this, you be real, be completely real. That's why what you find more often than not is we are, as a race, we are, we, how can I put this? We are a lot. We're a lot. We kind of take over. That's why you can have one of us in a room and we just kind of fill the room. Okay. And one might say, well, that's just a philosophy. No, 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 it's not. It is what it is. Because we are unique, we're original, and there isn't another one like us. Okay. There just isn't. Uh, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. But black women come into this completely real. They're not pretending to be something else. If they are a typical black woman um, who is ghetto, she gets a different kind of white guy. If she is a black woman like me, we get a different kind of white guy. We get the upstanding, hardworking, want to do everything right, love real hard kind of white guy. Okay. That's what women like me get. They want to please you. They want to make you happy. And and I believe part of it's because as naive as they try to pretend that they are, and of course they're not, but they try to pretend that they are, they recognize we've gotten a raw deal. So I think from that perspective, I truly believe they on a certain level try to make up for it. First time I went shopping in the grocery store was with a white man. Black men don't go to the store with their women. Am I saying there isn't a black man out there who won't go shopping? You know, y'all can get on that if you want to about picking out. I'm not picking out. This is me, and I'm not speaking specifically to USB. I'm saying anytime as a black woman we say anything about black men, everybody wants to jump on their soapbox. And I say, have at it. Okay? I'm speaking to my experience. Okay? I've lived a long time. So that's who I'm talking about. Talking about me and what I know about this here. Okay? This is this is me in my arena. I know what I'm talking about. Black men to me, uh, they've gotten uh, they've gotten a free ride to me because everything that goes wrong it falls at the black woman. Everything we get blamed for everything. You name it, we get blamed for it. They don't blame black men. What do they blame black men for? Oh yeah, they blame them for making babies and leaving. But that's not the topic of conversation on a regular basis. But you look at a community, and if you see some kids acting up, they're not asking where are their parents, not if they're black. The question is, where's the mama? They don't say, where's the daddy? They say, where's the mama? See? But with uh, white kids, if they're acting up, where are the parents? See? See that? Now, you might say, well, the reason for that is because there's so many single parent homes. And you're right. You are right. You are absolutely right. I don't know. And again, I'm not a black man, so I don't know what it's like to make babies and leave them. I don't know anything about that. You know, perhaps somebody should have a podcast on that, or have a podcast on what it feels like to leave one day knowing you're never coming back and just forget all about you got kids. Now, yeah, they might say, uh, I didn't forget, I don't forget. Well, the kids can't tell because they're the ones sitting on the steps wondering where you at. You're not paying child support. You're just not there. You're gone. And I did not mean to go off on that, and I apologize. But in reference to marriages, yeah, 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 they last longer for obvious reasons because neither one is deluding themselves about their role. The white man knows who he is, and the black woman knows who she is, and they know a black man and a white woman, those were the last two to come together. But in reality, they were the first two to come together. I hope you get my meaning when I say that because I went back 400 years when I make that comment. See, when we were brought over and you had the uh, the slaves that were in the house and you had the ones that were in the field. Generally, the ones that were in the house were fair complected or very light skinned. The dark skinned black women were not in the house, they were in the field. The ones that the master saw as attractive, she was in the house, being either something in the house. But at some point, at the end of her day, after she's worked all day and all evening, he's coming to her cabin. Say, we've heard the stories. We know that's part of our history. That they don't. Why do you think so many white folks got them really pretty tans? See, they know it, whether they want to admit it or not. We in everybody's DNA. They don't just naturally get a beautiful tan. Yeah, they can go to the tanning booth, but you've seen people who have a natural tan, who claiming to be white, and who has not claimed their blackness yet. I'm just saying, yes, it started there, and this is where it's at. So, uh, the white man, he's not deluding himself. He knows he has a queen, and that's I don't know if you've seen that YouTube, or they have TikToks too. It's this black woman. She's very statuesque. She's a mature black woman, very dark skinned, and she's married to this older white man, and he's rich. And she's wearing all these furs and designer gowns, and he's opening her door. But see, for me, I kind of demand that with men. I remember when I first moved out here, and this black guy took me out. He came to pick me up, and of course, I wasn't ready when he got there. And we get to his car, and I'm standing there, and I had these visions at that moment of, I don't know if you saw this movie, it's called A Bronx Tale, but I'm standing there, and he's asking me, why am I standing there? I said, because I'm waiting for you to come open my door. Now again, he didn't know me, and I said that to say, you start, and this is something my mother told me as a young girl, you start them the way you want it to be, because whatever you start, that's what you're going to get. If there's certain requirements, and this has no race on it, this is just period. If you are one of those women who want him to be a gentleman, then you got to set the tone. You shouldn't have to, but you have to demand it. And if he wants you, and he does, you just stand there, which is what I did. Do you think he didn't come around and open that door? He absolutely did. He absolutely did, you know. So it doesn't just stop there. He's got to open the door for me. He's got to close the door for me. He's got to help me with my coat. All those things that gentlemen are supposed to do. He's going to open up the door, and he's going to let me go out first. I mean, all the things that are supposed to be done. I know you can be conditioned to a different way. In reality, you want him to be a gentleman. But sometimes you have to teach them without saying, I'm teaching you. No, you do have to teach people how to treat you. It's just like getting to a time in your life when you realize you made some mistakes with people, and this could be family members or friends, and you think, you don't like that. You started out with it, you got conditioned to it, even though you didn't like it. And now what? How do you fix it? It's a bitter pill to swallow. For example, there's this guy I met when I first got here. We dated for a minute 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. We didn't date long, uh, and that was it. He reached out a few years later, and he was still talking the same way. And when he called me, and I asked him some specific questions, not many. That phone call wasn't long. It maybe was 5 minutes. I don't think it was that long. The point was, are you the same or are you different? If you're still the same, then we don't have anything to talk about. So now let's set that aside. Now it's been 10 years, 10 more years. No, that doesn't add up because this was 10 years ago, last time I talked to him. So recently, when I first moved here in this apartment, which I've been here 6 months, I said, because I lived in Pahrump and I was isolated, I was going to move back in town and connect with people that I had just completely locked out. That's me. I did that. So I did. I reached out to a few people, and this one particular uh, young man, and he is young because I don't really get into older men. I don't. My mother did that to me. My mother used to always say she didn't want nothing old but money. And I don't know why, because daddy was older than her. But that's how she raised us. And I just kind of got conditioned. And as I grew up, I found that I was always attracted to a younger man. It has not changed. Even since living here in Las Vegas, uh, first year or two that I was here, I was proposed to, and I said yes because I say yeah. I've been married several times. I said yeah. He was older. He had a good pension. Yeah, I know how I sound. And yeah, I said yeah. But just the thought of it, I cringed. I'm like, man, you can't marry that man. You can't stand to be around him because he's old. And so we didn't get married. We dated for about 6 months. There was nothing wrong with him, not really. I just couldn't do it. And that was then. I've learned so much about myself in my journey, in this phase of my journey. I have learned so much about me and who I am. But in reference to that young man I was speaking of, I reached out to him and we had not talked, like I said, 10 years. And so we were chatting, and he and I, when we would talk on the phone, we would be on the phone. Like talking on the phone to him was like being on the phone with a woman, as far as how long we'd be on the phone, long time. So I didn't know what to expect. And again, you don't know when you haven't seen people in a long time. You don't know because you've changed doesn't mean everybody's changed. Because I'm sure you know everybody's on a different page. You would hope that they have transitioned, turned a corner, whatever you want to call it, but not always. Anyway, this person, we were chatting, and he's one of those kind of people. He loves to get everything out of you. I don't mean physically, I mean, he wants you to share everything, okay? I mean, he wants to know everything. And I don't care about that. That's where I'm at in my life now. I don't care. See, I don't care. I'm just one of those people, and it's kind of been my philosophy. I don't mind sharing, but I have to want to do it. You can't demand it of me that I'm not going to do it. You won't get anything out of me. And that might be what the issue here is. He will call me and ask me a lot of questions, and it bothered me then. And what I noticed even now, he's doing it, and it was irritating me. And I said, now wait a minute. And this is me talking to me in my head. I'm like, and this is after the conversation's over because I don't want to be hasty. Yeah, I don't want to jump the gun. I want to, you know, gain some perspective. So I didn't say anything. I haven't said anything yet. We met because we hadn't seen each other in a very long time. I told him I was going to the Goodwill. I kid you not, because I was. I had already planned to go. It was half off day. It was half off day, and I was already gone. And he said, "Oh, I want to go. I want to go." I said, "Well, I'm leaving at 11," and I was going to Paran. And he showed up, but he was always very punctual. Um, he showed up, and we did our little hug. Somebody you haven't seen in a long time, and we went out there and we spent the day together. I mean, the whole day. And then I remembered that's the kind of guy he is. And I'm out of practice for all of that. It can be pretty exhausting entertaining somebody all day. Really, really. Because after all of that, then to come home and cook, I don't do that. If I run around all day, I don't come home and cook because I already have cooked what I need for the week. Like I pulled out some vegetable soup because I don't know if you watched any of my channel, but I make a big pot and then I portion it out so that I have what I need when I need it. I can't do that for everything. I do it for things like that, soups and things, you know. So yeah, I wanted vegetable soup, especially since my sinuses was acting up. But I didn't have to go in there and chop and dice and slice. All I had to do was go in my, I have an additional freezer. Go in there and pull some out. See, that's what I do. But anyway, I did this, and then I had just moved in here, and I had this picture right here that needed to be hung up. He brought his tools and all that kind of stuff. And all I'm thinking about is, man, I'm tired, but I was enjoying spending time with him. We were laughing and talking, and everything was fine. And I told him right then, because that's who I am, that part of me, I've always been like that. I told him where I'm at and when we first met, I had demands that I made on men, and he stepped up. Don't get me wrong. When I met him, I needed this, and this, and this. And he was willing, and he is what? Ooh, he's 18 years younger than me, okay? But he stepped right up, and he was just spending and buying gifts. And when I say that, don't get me wrong. I'm not what do you call it? Uh, what do you call it? Brand. I am, but I'm not. So I needed a sweeper. I didn't know I needed a sweeper because I had a sweeper, but I was having company, and you know how you can be preparing for guests and you look at your carpet even though you had ran the sweeper maybe yesterday, and you think, oh, I want to run the sweeper over that. You want everything to be all nice and fresh looking, and my sweeper was acting up. So he shows up, and he's playing with my, remember when people meet you they're trying to impress you, so he was trying to work on my sweeper. And I said, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a sweeper. Next time I saw him, which was 2 days later, he had bought me a sweeper. That kind of stuff. But there were some big ticket items. Don't get me wrong. He spent money. That was then. I think this time he wanted to make sure I knew that he wasn't spending any money. But I told him up front, I don't want anything from you. See, that's the difference now. I don't want anything. I don't need anything from you. Okay? I'm retired. I don't have to do anything. I don't want anything. That's why when I ordered from Walmart, I ordered a bunch of stuff that I didn't need, but I needed a minimum to get it delivered. Anyway, I did not get, and I have a meeting that I have to get to. I always say when I do lives, that I enjoy it, but then I have so much trouble coming back. I hope that you will come back. I have a meeting. I possibly will do another live later. Uh, but think about some questions that you may have and let me know. your background as far as if you've dated outside your race or if you haven't, what are your objections? Share this with me. So think about that. And I'm going to come back. I got a meeting that's going to be about an hour. And then I'm going to come back here and fix me something to eat. And then I'm going to go live again because I set it up differently this time. Uh, so this should be easier. I had a great time. Thanks for talking to me. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm going to come back. I hope you look out to see if I went live. And like I said, think about some questions you want to ask so that it can be more specific to you because I want to help any way I can. Any way I can. So think about it, you know, and then I can specifically answer your question. Answer me this if you haven't went off. Have you actually ever dated outside your race? That's just a yes or no. You don't have to get real specific now. Just answer that for me because it'll give me something to think about also because I understand that place too of being in that spot where you haven't even done it yet. You haven't crossed over. You know, you don't know if you can do it and you're thinking about all those things you've heard and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, let me go. I got to go to this meeting. The meeting is here in this building. That's why I haven't left. And I'm supposed to be there at 2:30. So I gotta see. And I kind of thought that. And I'm glad you shared that with me. So now, like I said, when I come back, I want you to think of really something specific or uh, think of a few questions that you feel have really got you stuck on this. Okay. And when I come back, and for you, I'm going to come back because you were honest with me and told me you haven't. See? And I've been doing it so long, I done forgot stuff. I'm really glad I did those videos now. I really am. So, SB, thank you so much for sticking in there with me while I do all this. I'm going to come back. Thanks for sharing. I will talk to you soon.